Welcome everyone. How are you guys? Welcome to the Be Positive Show. Thank you guys for having us today. We have our guest Mohamed Rashed, great guy. Hi Mohamed, how are you guys? Today's episode is gonna.
I'm good.
Today's episode is gonna be about why do you need to improve yourself. Pretty interesting, and we have a great guy talking about it. Guys, Mohamed Rashed will be telling you more about himself in a second, but great speaker. He did have a TED Talk about similar topics, and you'd love to hear from him. So guys, we will be taking your questions later on. So tune in, be listening very well. This video will be recorded and be uploaded on YouTube. So again, feel free to ask any questions while the show is going on, and we'll be answering them by the end. All right, Mohamed. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm excited. I'm nice. Feel good.
First of all,
what about you? How are you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I'm very happy with this show. Yesterday we had our first episode with our lovely Lorianne, and she did very well. The show was really great, and really good to see you here as well.
It's always good to see you, man.
So let's start with the basics. So tell us more about you and what do you do in life, and just tell us more about you.
That is a good question, man. What the hell do I do in life? No, okay. So my name is Mohamed Rashed, as you know. I'm studying electrical engineering in the University of Wollongong in Dubai, UWD. Hey, I'm entering my last semester of electrical engineering in 4th year, so I'll be graduating this end of October, I'd say, and then I'll be free, man. I'll be free to make adult decisions, adult choices, and mess up like an adult. Oh boy, it's gonna be fun. See, which is why this topic is pretty important, because like as an adult, it's non-stop growth. You got to keep growing if you want to make it out there, wherever you are. So it's gonna be fun.
That is true. Tell us more about your talents. What do you like doing mainly? And let's get into the topic of quarantine. So what was your life before quarantine and after quarantine? And did that talents kind of change, or were you able to have to pivot from them? So tell us more about that. So what are your talents, and how did the change of quarantine affect them?
Okay, so as for the change of quarantines, to be honest, there's been like little to no change. I mean, like in all honesty, like with engineering and with just like my general hobbies, you could say, it's mostly staying at home, because like when I'm doing engineering, I'm staying at home, I'm working, I'm studying, I'm doing that at home alone. If I'm doing my hobbies, I'm gaming with friends, I'm chatting with friends, I'm talking with family at home. I don't really, I don't have a lot of extracurricular activity outside of the house, I could say. So the quarantine wasn't a massive shift in my day-to-day schedule. It definitely sucks that I can't leave when I want to. It's weird. Normally I wouldn't leave, but now that something's telling me that I can't leave, I want to leave.
Yes, I know.
I want to get out.
I know we humans really tend to like things when they're kind of limited from us.
Yeah.
So I know exactly how you feel.
It's like you don't know what you have until you're gone. Like that kind of fits.
Fair enough. I also know that you're into gaming. So any updates on that? What kind of games have you been playing lately? And what do you see yourself doing? Do you see yourself maybe following a career in gaming, perhaps? Or do you
following
still
a career
in
gaming? No, I'd say I'm more of like an enthusiast. Gaming is like really a hobby. I don't really see a career. Not that it's like anything wrong with it. It seems like a really fun thing, and I'm sure with enough effort and like dedication and time, it can flourish into something you can make a living off of. I'm sure you can make some livelihood off of gaming, whether it's streaming, gaming, whatever, but I don't really see that for myself. I'm more of someone who wants to do I want to say like real world problems, you could say. Not to say that I want to work on like real world problems in engineering and science, maybe even in the field of medicine, who knows, but like tech essentially. And who knows, the tech even that could even include gaming tech, you never know. But I'd say like gaming as a form of entertainment, if that's what you mean, or like a sport, not really. It's something I just do for fun and I really, really enjoy doing, but not something I can see putting an effort to build a career off of.
Do you have any specific topic that you're really enthusiastic about? You mentioned the world problems. Do you have any specific topic in mind or on the spot now that you want to feel like it's very impactful to the world and you want to really get into that field?
Man, there's a lot, to be honest. Like there's, I guess the two major ones. I mean, like, okay, so, I mean, like as the title says of the video, we'll be talking about like why the hell do you even need to bother improving yourself, you know? So I'll be going over self-improvement, and maybe a little bit going over mental health to a degree, because like self-improvement and mental health do tie in together. They do come
Mm-hmm.
across one another, because you'll if you want to go any further, or if you want to improve, you will have to work on your mental health. You know, the health. Your mental health. You'll have to work on that. You have to try to maintain and improve that if you want to grow as a person, because it's not just physically, it's also mentally and spiritually, if you'd like. But yeah, it's mental health and self-improvement are two major topics that we should go about on an individual level, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's get into the topic of today. And I'm glad you kind of gave us a little trailer to it, like a little teaser, you know, and I
Yeah.
really enjoy that. So let's start with what does it mean to actually improve yourself? So in your, let's say, short terms, how would you define improving yourself is? Like, what is improving yourself? How do we start about that, and what do we do?
I guess if you have to compare yourself to something, it's improving yourself is just being better than the person you were 5 minutes ago. I guess if you want to really describe it. As to what exactly you can improve yourself, see, it can be a lot of factors. I guess it's just like improving your capacity to do things and handle things and manage things. I guess we could start with that. It's being able to do more at a higher, more, maybe even more complicated level, confidently, and also to be able to remove the problems in your life. I guess you could say that, because as you improve, the problems kind of dwindle.
Mm-hmm.
So as you improve, your old problems get shifted with new, you could say, better problems. You know, so you have to. What you're trying to do is shift from your old heavy problems to newer, you could say, lighter problems that you can work on. Because if you stay in the same problem your entire life, you're really never going to go. And if you never grow, you can't really get farther. You know, when you're a baby, your first problem is walking and talking. You know, once you get that down, the next thing you can do is you can compose sentences, and then you can start walking or running. And after walking, you can start standing and running. After that, so on and so on and so on. You know, you got to shift from your little problems to other problems, so you can, and that's called improvement. You know, it's literally called growing. So there are different ways you can improve yourself. You know, it can be academically, it can be mentally, like I said before. Physically, that definitely applies. Financially, that's a way. But like on an individual level, to improve yourself is not just to improve your situation, but to improve yourself as a person as well. So that's something you can do. Either there are two outlets to do it, either on the outside, which is to improve the environment around you, or on the inside, which is to improve the environment inside you. Again, mental health.
All right. That's really good insights. And again, you're kind of giving me a lot of follow up questions, which is really, really good. So,
Okay.
like you mentioned, improving yourself is basically becoming better than what you were, let's say, 1 minute, or maybe 10 years ago, right?
Sure.
And it's a good way to start at some point. Do you feel like there's a time where you should start, or a person, it's all about the decision or a lifestyle that you have to do? Because some people go like, well, it's at the end of the year, let me wait till like it's 1st of Jan and then I'm gonna start. Or people go like, well, I've kind of already skipped May, so let's just wait till June is over and then it's mid-year, and then. So do you feel like there's a day specifically to start, or should we plan it, or do we just start ahead and go? So how do you go about that?
Yeah, man.
By the way, a lot of love
Contentment.
from the followers and fans. Guys, thank you all for being here. Really appreciate it. If you guys want his socials by
What up?
any chance, use the command !guest, and you can get all his information. At the same time, if you have any questions, do mention them in the chat. I will be asking him later once we are done. So,
Okay.
big love to you, Mohamed. Thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate you guys. Again, if you are here for the first time, I am a gamer. I play games on this channel, and I hold a show called Be Positive. So make sure you follow me to get the notifications for the next shows and next live sessions. And sorry to interrupt you, Mohamed. Keep going.
No, it's totally fine. Okay, so yeah, dude, contentment can be dangerous. You know, to laziness is like the enemy of self-improvement. It's just a straight up evil. polar opposite to self-improvement, saying you want to putting off something till the next day won't really help. You have to try. See, it doesn't have to be a huge improvement. That's the thing. Like you can make small, tiny improvements, like consistent improvements in your day-to-day life. Um, but I'd say that definitely putting things till the end never works out. It really, really never works out. Whether that's exams, homework, projects, work, issues you have to talk about, that email you need to send, or whatever. It's really. I don't know. I don't see a point keeping it till the end. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm guilty of doing that a lot of times. I don't even know why. I just do it. I'm like,
We
hey, I
all
have
are.
time.
We all are.
I'll leave it till the end. Hey, But it never. All it does is just add more stress. You see, like as the time gets closer to the deadline, the stress builds up, and as the stress builds up, it kind of makes it harder for you to want to do it, until you're forced to do it at the very end, where you're just gonna be flustered and stressed and anxious and do the work. Maybe you'll do well, maybe you won't, as long as you just give it in, khalas, and boof, you're done. But like, why put yourself through that? Why put yourself through all that stress to finish something you could have finished ages ago, without stress-free, And you don't have to like do it in one swoop, do it in like finish everything in the next hour, and then leave yourself 6 weeks to take a break. No, I mean, like, just try to build some milestones for yourself. Don't leave things till the end. Build a few milestones for you to accomplish, on the day. Okay, like instead of like, if you take a report that you have to do in 2 weeks, you could say, I have time, I'll leave it till the end, but that's never a good idea. So instead, what you can do is you can break that work into like mini milestones, and you can make it easier for yourself to finish it by having smaller, more achievable accomplishments for you to do to the project. And once you finish like that, like for example, your first milestone to the report is, okay, I'm just going to finish this one paragraph and I'm done. That's it. That's my work for the day. Okay. So you write that one paragraph and you do it. You finish that one paragraph, like you said, and that can give you this like sense of like accomplishment, like, hey, I did something, and that might encourage you to either continue, right, go for a second paragraph, or wait till the next time, and then you'll be able to do it again and again, and that kind of just like chain reaction. Those like little accomplishments can build up to a big accomplishment, which is finishing the report. So you just gotta really, you don't have to do everything. You don't have to be that person that says, okay, New Year's Eve, I'm gonna make my new milestone is to get ripped in summer within 2 months. I'm gonna have a sick diet, I'm gonna get all A's. That's awesome on all those big goals, but you're like, it's just kind of unrealistic to have such a big goal so fast. Instead, just say, okay, from now on, I'll at least once a day I'll do 5 push-ups, or I'll eat 1 extra carrot, or it's just something. It's about the little adjustments, the little improvements in your life that eventually build up to bigger habits, you could say. So it's about the small adjustments, small accomplishments. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that is what you're saying is really, really true and accurate as well, because I've been reading a lot about self-improvement in general throughout the past 4 or 5 years, especially in uni. And a lot of these techniques, there's like actual techniques out there, and most of them do highly recommend you to start small. So like there's a 5-minute starting technique, and then there's a thing that do the smaller tasks first, so you're done with them. And there's a couple of others. There's like literally billions and billions out there, and most of them do follow the idea of doing smaller chunks of things to make up the bigger picture.
Exactly.
Now I want to get into something. Do you want to give us like a personal example of what you have had in your like previous, let's say, past year or past 2 years, where you had to improve something and then you took the steps towards that? Can you give us like an example?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd say it's the it's my thesis that I just recently finished last semester. That was a whole thing, man. It was just a roller coaster of emotions and stress and anxiety, and it was just like a lot of that was, I'd say, my fault, because I just didn't manage myself as well as I should have, which is like it's most of the case. Like the problems that I had during my thesis, the stress, the anxiety, the not much time left, those weren't things that someone else did or someone else afflicted on me. It's something I did to myself. It's something I did to myself by not paying attention, or by not focusing more, or not managing my time better, or maybe even leaving some few things to the end here and there. I can admit that I've done those things. But one thing I'd say that helped me is like I said, I had this huge. I had both the report, the thesis report, and I had the project to do, and they were huge things. You know, this is like what I'm saying. These are the huge things that I need to finish. You know, the thesis, the project. I had to get all that done, and it was a lot of work, and and it was a lot of stress too. And
I could
like
imagine.
telling myself that I have to do this big project, I have to do this entire 70-page report, I have to do. I just keep focusing on like I have to do this big one, this big task, this big one, this big task, and I was and then that kind of put me away from like the things I have to do ahead of me, which is page one. You know,
Mhm.
I was so focused on all the 70 pages. I wasn't focused on like, okay, what am I gonna do for page one? What am I gonna do for the project? What's the research points I'm gonna go over? What's the tests I'm gonna do? Rather, I was just so focused on I have to get this big project to work. I have to get this report finished. You know, it was so focused on the big things. So eventually, what I did was I broke it down. I broke it down
Mm.
into little accomplishable milestones. Today, I'm going to finish one entire page. Maybe it's not much, but it's something. I'm going to finish it. I'm going to do it well. Take my time with it. I do it well. I'll do one test for this thesis, and that's it. And I did that day after day after day. With I have to admit some like time constraints, but I did that day after day, and it so the time when my time was still limited, the deadline was still coming, but like how I felt about my exam, my thesis, it was easier, you could say. It was still stressful, but it was easier because I knew because when I look at those 70 pages left that I have to do, I can look back at the those 10 pages that I did do, and I know I did properly, and I can be like, yeah, I did that. I did that well, and I can keep going to page 11, to page 12, and I keep making those tiny steps. And when I'm stuck, I take my time. When I'm stuck on one page, I'll break that page even smaller, and I'll break that paragraph even smaller. I'll break that sentence into one word. See what I'm stuck about. Why is this one thing in my way? And I'll break it down, and I'll try to kind of slay these little problems one by
Mhm.
one by just breaking down to like easy easy things that I could fight, that I could handle. And again, this comes back to like little things. So those little adjustments or little things I'm doing will eventually build up to something bigger, and that big thing is me eventually finishing my thesis and passing. Thank God.
And I'm
But yeah,
assuming you
that's
did that. You obviously did
I
finish your
did. Yeah, I got
thesis,
really well grade. I'm really happy with how I did.
and obviously the hard work does come into consideration, and obviously
Yeah,
every
absolutely.
hardworking person will eventually get their success at some point.
Yeah,
Now,
seriously. And this was just thesis.
to counter back that question, and by the way, I love the answer, but here's the thing. I'm
Yeah.
sure, and me myself, I was guilty of this. Sometimes, as a friend of yours, I would want you to go out and stuff. And I remember sometimes you would say yes, and sometimes you would say no. Most of the time, you would
Right.
be saying no, but like at some point, you would say yes, and you'd have to sacrifice some time. And especially
Yeah.
if there's a lot of people asking you. So I was guilty of that myself. But then I'm sure a lot of your friends would be asking you to play games. Maybe family would need stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So
But like, they're not forcing me. It's kind of partly my fault too.
fair enough.
But
But
yeah,
I mean,
I get what you
with
mean.
these conflicts happening, do you think that people should maybe give some time off, or they should plan their times off, or maybe, like how do they handle these conflicts, or people trying to put them down maybe from what they feel like it's improving them?
Okay. Okay. So, how do you resolve this? Okay. So when you have a lot of your friends asking you to do something you know you shouldn't be doing because you're usually working, then that is kind of a problem. And like I'm not going to say that you have to be 100% work, no fun, no play, no satisfaction. It's just work, 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 24 hours. You got to finish that project, got to finish whatever the hell, and ignore your friends. I'm not going to say that because that doesn't seem like a really healthy way to solve or finish your work.
Mm.
You can still enjoy yourself. You can still have fun. You need actually you. I'd argue that you need to do that because a lot of stress can build up if you're just working and not relaxing. So I'd say you do need to make up time for leisure, for relaxation. You need to do that on top of your work. You have to. This is on you to manage. You got to say, okay, 1 hour with my friends, and then 3 hours with work. Yada yada. Depending on like how close things are. But anyways, as for like friends and the problems trying people to put you down, if they're your friends, I wouldn't say they're trying to put you down, but like obviously they might be distracting, inviting you to come out or play and all that. It's fine. I in that for your friends and family as well, I'd say what you need to do is that you need to talk with them. You need to tell them, hey man, I'm sorry, but I got this report to do. It's due in a week. I don't really have much time. I really want to play with you, but I can't at the moment. And what's awesome is that usually they'll be understanding, like, yeah, sure, no problem. I mean, in my friends, they'll just invite me anyways. But uh, same goes with my family. Though they were super yeah, basically this guy in particular. So they were super understanding when you tell them, hey, be quiet, and they're just quiet. They're like, oh, you have work. We totally get it. They're just quiet, no argument, nothing, and they just leave me to it. So in that case, when you just talk to them and tell them how you feel and how you have this really important thing to finish and it's really stressing you out, and all that, they can be very helpful either by just not bothering you or by helping you in other ways, like helping you with chores, which is some my family members helped me with that when I couldn't do anything except work, and sometimes making food for you, which is awesome,
Aw.
like little things that help you. And your friends can just understand by like leaving you alone for a bit, or like just playing with you when you want to or when you can. So it's all about like telling them, like being open and telling them you can't. So it's like up to you to tell them I can't. You shouldn't just go on and play with them and just neglect your work because your friends want you to play or whatever. You gotta you could say assert yourself and say that I can't right now, but I will later. So I guess it's up to you to manage yourself, manage your time. So yeah.
A couple of funny comments you're getting in the chat is one guy said that you never say yes, and I did giggle at that quietly.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
a couple of them are saying that you really understand them, and one of them was like shouting, "He gets me!" So you're getting good feedback on the chat as well, guys. Again, shout out to Mohamed. He's a great guy, really lovely friend as well, and I'm sure you're all here because most of you know him. But if you don't, please do the command explanation mark guest so you can get more information about him and you can actually go and chat with him. I'm sure he won't bite you. But otherwise, shout out to all of you for coming here. And please do visit as much as you can. This channel is a friendly channel for everyone. And this show is called Be Positive, which will be recorded and uploaded on YouTube if you want to rewatch this later on. Moving on, Mohammed, so you mentioned with the whole conflict and being able to handle it. What
Yeah.
Now moving on a little further, how would you let's say expect people to treat you when you're trying to improve? Do you expect people to help you improve, or is it do you think it's bad if you want to ask for help, or do you feel like maybe you should do it yourself? So what's your view on that? Do you feel like it's essential to have people supporting you at all times, or do you think it's like a solo journey that you have to go through?
I'd say it's definitely comforting to have someone by your side on your journey to self-improvement. It's never, there's nothing wrong with always having someone by your side or people by your side while you're walking that very difficult road of self-growth and self-improvement. So I'd say there's nothing wrong with that. Just be careful what people you walk with, because some people could slow you down and they could slow you down in some way or the other.
You
So
mean slow you
you know what
down
they say,
unintentionally?
both unintentionally and intentionally. I could say, are some are might not be good for you. You could say all the time. They might not be good for you all the time. So who you walk with as you improve can affect the quality or the process of that you're trying to go through as you improve. So I'd say it's not necessary, but I'd say it's really good for you to have someone good with you by your side on the road of self-improvement. You might even help each other. You don't know. And some people will break you down. Like I wouldn't say I've had personal experience of someone directly trying to telling me you can't do this or there's no way you'll make it. I can't say I really had that experience directly, but I I don't so I can't really speak from my own experience, but I'm sure that whether it's a person or something that's making you feel like you gotta slow down, you gotta stop. That thing, whether it's a person or just even your own thoughts, those are the kind of things you have to try to overcome. The things you have to get through so you can go farther, so you wouldn't slow yourself or even others down, because like that's the thing, because you might be the person who's slowing other people down on the road to self-improvement. So that's another thing. When you're improving yourself, you're not just improving yourself for yourself, which is important, don't get me wrong, but you're also making it so that it's easier for others, you could say, because if you're happier, if you're more confident, the people around you will kind of catch those vibes and they'll feel the same way. They'll reflect those good vibes that you're sending them, that confidence, maybe even that encouragement that you want to improve yourself, or that you want to do something better or bigger or whatever. So you're really also helping others, you know. um, there will be people out there who are like sharks, who will hunt you down and try to drown you, you know, in laziness and self-doubt and all that. And it's those people that you kind of want to watch out for, you know, those sharks that you got to watch out for.
True, true.
And be ready, because you won't always be able to get away from them. You won't always be able to swim away from those sharks. You'll never will. So what you have to do, and there's a lot of sharks in the world, what you have to do is you have to stand your ground and be ready to hit that shark in the snout. You know, you gotta be ready to handle yourself, to do that, so that you can keep going, so you can keep swimming that ocean of life. Things just got really deep, man.
I love the use of the word shark, and this kind of gives me that visual of actually growing. So you start like a small fish, and as you grow, you become a bigger, 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 until you reach a shark or even a whale to be able to fight. And maybe those sharks will eventually again become good sharks and be tamed. So I like that visual that you've given.
There are also dolphins in the world.
Of course, guys. If you are a dolphin, do press F on the chat. Thank you so much for Gabby for being here, guys. Shout out to Gabby, who does basketball podcast on Instagram. So just a little shout out there for him while we are at the show. And now, Maho, you kind of already teased that out of me. I love how you like kind of read my brain and then talk about it. So you mentioned that being good or improving yourself isn't just necessarily for you. It could be also affecting others as well. So back to today's question and the main focus of today's topic. Why should we actually, or why the hell do we need to improve yourself? So we kind of touched on the hows and whys, but like I want to know the main reason why we should really improve ourselves, and why would this be impactful?
No, that's a good question. You know, it's something to reflect on. Like, why the hell should you even bother improving yourself in the first place? What's the point? You know, like to others, just the fact of being able to do better, be better, feel better is encouragement enough. You know, that's all they need. To some people, they just don't care. They're like, why do I need that? And like to that, I'll tell I can tell them in the words of Dr. Jordan Peterson, someone I admire, it's that so you don't have to suffer more stupidly than you need to. Okay? See, when you improve yourself, you like I said, you remove the problems in your life, the suffering in your life, you know, that you cause on yourself, or that's happening in your life. So if you're someone who doesn't care, like, you will, even if you say you don't, you do care, because as Dr. Jordan Peterson says, when you're in pain, you will care. You will have to care. And that's what will happen if you don't improve yourself. You will eventually suffer, and you will suffer more, and you will be in pain. And when you're in pain, whether you like it or not, you will want to get out of that pain. You will want to improve, so you can move that pain away. You know, it's just only a very few number of people would say that who are in pain would say that it wouldn't have been better if they're out anyways. And those are the kind of people that are in a very difficult situation, you know, who think that it wouldn't be any better outside of the pain. And that kind of thing is just hard to get out of, but you have to, you know, you have to either way. So yeah, you're going to suffer. So you need to try to improve yourself so you don't suffer any more stupidly than you need to.
Exactly.
Like, so a lot of people are suffering for very dumb reasons, which I'm not trying to neglect most people's problems. Some people's problems, some things people can't control, you know, sickness, financial situations, family member died, things like that. There's nothing against that. Obviously, those are things outside of your control. But I'm talking about the things inside of your control, little things that you can improve that'll help you suffer a little less and move a little forward. Those are the kind of things you need to pay attention to. Even if you're someone who doesn't care, you eventually will. Keep that in mind. The pain will come. You can't run away from it. You know, you can't keep going the anti-self-improvement or lazy life, because eventually it's gonna get you. A shark eventually will get you. So eventually, and when it hits, it's gonna hit hard if you're not ready. So I'd say that's what I'd say. Why you need to improve yourself. So you just to reduce pointless suffering, I guess. You know.
Mm. Talking about the sharks, and again, the fact that they're always trying to come and get you, and it's more of like a race, if you will, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. So it's like I'm swimming, and then the shark is trying to get me, and I'm trying to improve, and I'm just trying to run away from that shark until I'm strong enough to beat it, right?
I wouldn't say it's a race. I'd say it's just you trying to reach a certain destination.
Fair enough.
You're not trying to reach it faster than anyone else. You're just trying to reach that destination eventually. So it's not. That's why they say about life isn't a race.
I like that. Yeah.
Unless I could say that it is a race in the sense that you are racing your past self. Because if you're going at the same pace as your past self, then you're not going to get that race eventually. And by the way, think of your past self as somebody who's trying to slow you down, who's trying to keep you down. And if you're at the same level as your past self for the entirety of the race, you're not gonna have a great time. But if you can outpace yourself, if you can go faster or farther than your old self, that is a good thing. I'd say then you're winning the race of self-improvement, self-doubt, things like that. But as with any path in the world, it is dangerous. It comes with its dangers. Wherever you go, no matter what, it's going to be dangerous. There are going to be sharks there. So I'd say they're not looking for you, but you will come across one. And when you do, they won't hesitate to strike.
Are there any specific advices that you feel would be helpful for the people to start their journey? Like, I'm sure they're all watching you and they're getting all motivated. Some of them are like saying you're so deep about racing your past, and they're really liking it. So, is there any specific advice? So maybe like I've heard some people say maybe use a diary, maybe plan your day the next day.
Sure.
Maybe
Sure.
review yourself. So what advices
Totally
that you practice maybe would be helpful for us to start? So like if I want to start to improve myself tomorrow, what would Mohamed give me as a beginner advice, let's say?
Okay. Clean your room. Seriously, clean your room. Make your bed. See, this analogy is really important because before you can start to solve big problems, like I want to change the world, man. I want to do this. I want to do those big things. I want to be up there. Before you can be someone who can change the world, start by changing yourself. But in the environment around you, start by cleaning your room. Start by in the little box that you're in, that you have full 100% control of. That is your room. Start by doing that. Start by this is what Dr. Jordan Peterson said. He says, ask yourself, if you look at your room and ask yourself like as if it's an actual question, how can I improve this room in the next 10 minutes? How can I make this room cleaner or better in the next 10 or 30 minutes? He just ask yourself that. And when you ask yourself that question, things start coming to you. You're like, okay, there are some like untangled wires I can probably manage. There are some books that are just toppled over there that I can change. There's a lot of stuff under my bed. There's a lot of dust on the floor and tables that maybe I could clean. There's my cabinet has this. There's a lot of dust behind my PC. Things like that, and as you start improving yourself, you see that your mood improves, and like you're encouraged to do more things. So that's why you should start by cleaning the environment around you. Start by cleaning your room. And the making your bed analogy is actually really cool because like it's the making your bed analogy is really cool because so this is an analogy that they use in the U.S. Navy. They say that it's very important that the first thing you do in the morning is to make your bed and make it well. And the reason they say that is because making your bed in the morning is your very first accomplishment. It's the very first accomplishment that you do in the morning, and once you do that, you'll be encouraged to do another thing, and then another thing, and then another thing, and another thing, and another thing, until by the end of the day you've accomplished 100 small good things, and those 100 small good things can make a huge impact by the end of the day. And if things don't go your well by the end of the day, you'll have a nicely made bed for you by the end of the day to come back to. So that's
really emotional, and a couple of people in the comments are saying get your mom to do that. And guys, I'm telling you, this is a personal experience and I want to kind of share it. My mom cleans the whole house, right? So right now I'm staying with my parents. Obviously when I used to live alone I would do it myself, but like right now I'm with my parents. And my mom never touches my room. She always comes up to my room, and what she's saying is, she comes up to my room and she's like, it's already clean. Guys, I want to technically show you my room right now. I mean, I keep it clean because of the stream, but like generally, my room is always clean just because I'm a tidy person and like that. And I see the correlation of what you're saying, Mohammed, and on how to start small things. There are some days where I woke up and I just felt like I want to achieve things in life, and I'm like, I start by like maybe writing something, and then like I want to do
Right.
this, and then I want to complete this, and you know, this is how you start encouraging yourself even without having interference of anyone else. And you know what, I've had days where some people would motivate me to start things as well, and you can
Right.
see the change of how you improve, and at the end of the day you'd feel much better and motivated for the next day. And I think maybe creating a lifestyle out of that would really really help you, guys.
Yeah, definitely. You know, you're
Sorry, guys. You can start asking your questions now. So I'm just gonna ask him one last question as we go, and he has something to say. But then please do ask us the questions so we have time to answer them while we end. Yeah. Go on, Mohammed. You were saying something.
no, nothing. You're absolutely right. Uh, the whole cleaning your room analogy. It's making which is what defines self improvement. It's making small consecutive improvements in your life that'll eventually build up to bigger improvements. You know, it's just like hundreds of tiny adjustments or improvements in your life that'll really make a huge impact into it. Can you imagine if you can you say I'm gonna dust this off, I'm gonna dust this table off, I'm going to tidy these papers, I'm gonna finish that report, I'm gonna send that one email, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this one thing. If you do that 100 times in a day, you're gonna see a lot of improvements. A lot.
That is true. Yes.
So yeah, it's about small consecutive improvements, consistent improvements.
All right. I guess there's no questions yet. People are just like giving you good feedback. They're saying, "Wow, okay then," and some of them are saying, "Nice." One guy's, I'm not sure if he's being sarcastic or real, but he's saying he's actually gonna clean his room tomorrow. So we'll catch up on him tomorrow.
Hey, go for it. It might work for you.
But I honestly think what you're saying is really true, and I really see the correlation, especially on experiences that I've had personally in my life. Finally, I would like to ask you the final question. Can you imagine a world where everyone's trying to improve themselves regularly, and let's say all the sharks were eliminated? Obviously, this is coming from an ideal imagination.
Yeah, sure.
But what do you see that world like? Where do you see us creating that world? Do you feel like, is it achievable to some extent, even if it's not to the perfect extent, but like, is it achievable? Or do you see like people are always going to be sharks, some of them are not going to be able to help you? What's your view on that topic?
That's a good question, man. I don't really know. You know, I'd say things have. I guess if you compare it to 100 years ago, things have significantly improved. You know, I'd say, arguably, we're living in the best time of history. Back then, things were a lot more difficult. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to undermine the problems we currently have, but I'd say the problems we have now are much prefer them than the problems we had a few hundred years ago. And so we can definitely improve. Now, whether everybody can do it is, I guess that's really up for debate. I don't know if you can have a world without sharks and only dolphins. I mean, that sounds like a dreamland, really, but
I wish.
Some people could argue that the sharks are good for you. You know, they kind of keep the ecosystem stable. You know,
that is true.
They encourage they encourage people to be stronger, to run faster, I guess you could say. But I'd say even sometimes people can transition from being sharks to something better eventually. You know, maybe some people start out as sharks, or they start out in a bad position, in a bad spot in their life, and then they say no more, and then they transition to something better. They transform into dolphins or octopuses or whatever one of your favorite sea creatures. It doesn't really matter, but I'd say there's probably always going to be shark, because it's just human nature to have some kind of shark-like ferocity in us, and some people let it take over, others don't, which is really good. And so I'd say that's always going to be in there with us, and some people are strong enough to transition out of that, you know, through work and sheer willpower. They can get away from the shark life and make something better of themselves, and others will still need more time. Some people might not even realize that they have sharp teeth. You know, these are some of the. See, not everyone knows or is doing it intentionally. Some
Mhm.
people are harming themselves and or others unintentionally. You
That is
know,
true.
some
Yeah.
people. So that's why it's really important to, because you could be swimming your entire life in this big ocean, and if no one's ever there to look at you, then you will never know if you're actually a shark. You'll
Mm.
look at you know, there's no mirror in the ocean uh, that can tell you that you're a shark. Uh, you need to either find someone who can tell you that, this difficult to swallow pill, or you can really, really look at yourself, ask yourself, what am I doing? Is this right? How can I be better? Am I a shark? Am I doing something that I'm not realizing? And once you do that, that is one big and really important step to improving yourself, because what you're doing is that you're self-reflecting and you're looking at yourself, like really looking at yourself, man, and you're asking yourself, do I have sharp teeth? Am I hurting some? You know, am I doing something I didn't realize? And once you figure that out, once you reflect hard enough and realize the problems that you have, then that is such a good place to start in your journey of self-improvement. That is a good way for you to start to transition from a shark or whatever the hell you are into something bigger, something better, something good for you and your family and friends and everyone around you. So that it's your kind of duty to look at yourself, and I mean really look at yourself and ask yourself, like, is this right? You know, how is this person feeling? Like, also ask others. It's good to ask others, what do you think of me? And you know, you got to take things with a grain of
True.
salt. You got to be self-critical, but constructively. You know, you got to be able to take constructive criticism. You got to take everything with a grain of salt. You're not perfect, so you got to be able. You have to assume that there are things that are wrong with you, and you have to be willing to improve them. And if you can do that, you will be one hell of a great person in the near future, in the very near future.
I really agree, and I think being flexible and adaptable about these things is what really helps you improve, especially if you are seeking, if you're seeking to learn more and admitting that, okay, I made a mistake here and maybe I should fix it. Maybe this is the fastest way of actually improving yourself. And good point
Yeah.
there. Mohammed, we got a question, a really good one. But before we get into that question, I just want to shout out to Hind, guys. Hind is here on the channel. Guys, I will be hosting an episode with Hind very soon. She's a yoga enthusiast, and so watch out for that. It's going to be in the future episodes. So we're in talks with that. And obviously, as limited as my shows are only in the weekend, this is the capability. And maybe if you guys are always tuning in and watching, maybe I could turn them into daily shows. We never know, but that will be under review very soon. As for the question, Muhammad, one of the guys asked, how do you stop being addicted to the things that waste so much of your time but kinda enjoyable? So a good question as well, because many things in our life are enjoyable to a point where we keep doing them unintentionally,
Yeah.
or we just keep
Abs-
getting dragged, especially if it's a good TV show or a game and you always go one more game,
yeah,
one more show,
absolutely,
and
man.
then you're always in
That
that
that is
swirl.
that is the trap of leisure, man. That is just the trap of self-enjoyment. You know, um, c- complacency is just, it's kind of like the hidden devil. You know, when you're too complacent, when you're too satisfied with the position you're in, you just won't make it farther. See, there's definitely a lot of like little. There's a lot of like really good things, satisfying things in your life that you keep doing, and you don't recognize that
Mm-hmm.
they're wasting time. But if you do, that's a good thing. If you recognize that these things are a waste of time, that's a start. That's a good thing. And I guess that's the first step, is to recognize this instance of time waste that you're doing, that you're postponing your self improvements. And for some people, you can just rip out the band-aid, delete that game, delete that distraction, those Instagram, Facebook, just delete it, and just rip the band-aid off and just force it. To some people, it'll take a bit, just a bit more subtle effort into making just small consecutive goals. Like, okay, I'm gonna play for 4 hours. That's it. Okay, I'm going to, I'm going to just play for this much, and I'll stop, and I'll just do this work a little bit. Okay, you just tell yourself, okay, I'll just stop after 4 hours. I'll try to finish my work. This comes back to my original point. Make small goals. If you have a big report due and you're just constantly distracted, just tell yourself, I'm just gonna finish this one paragraph, just this one paragraph for today, and then I'm gonna go back to whatever the hell I was doing to waste my time. This is really a mental thing. You just don't feel like doing anything, and that's why you have to really kind of take action and put away all these small distractions. They're not good for you. Well, they're not good to you if you have too much of it.
That is true.
You have to, like you said, you can literally plan things out. You can have a schedule. You can have a diary.
Hmm.
You can take things slow, and you can really, really look at yourself. It helps. Some people can't just will it away. You have to put that distraction away, put your phone away, put your PC away. You have to do that, and sometimes it is hard. Don't get me wrong. You have that want or need to like just come back to it. It's just really good, but you're gonna have to. It's just about that effort. And if you need to, ask your friends, ask for help. Like, hey man, I can't stop playing this game, or hey man, I like playing with you, but this is too much. I got a lot of work to do, and I keep getting distracted. You just got to keep doing that. And my friend, someone of my friend does do that. And I tried when he does tell me that he genuinely wants to work. See, I never, well, I never invite him anyways. But when he tells me he needs to work, I try to respect that, and I try to respect that. To respect him, Swampfire 007, shout out. I try to respect him and his decisions when because I can tell that he obviously wants to work. He obviously wants to finish whatever he's doing. It's obviously stressing him out. Um, so I'll try to do my part and not play or not do anything. And I think that is a good push, from your friend or your family or whatever. It's a good push because like when you can't do it yourself, how just ask someone else if they can do it for you. Ask, when you were a kid and you like, it's kind of like having a mom. When you were a kid and you were doing something bad, as a kid, you have no control of yourself. You will do all the bad things, and you 10 times over. You'll eat all that candy, you will watch all that 10 hours of TV, you'll do the same thing. You don't care if it's bad for you, you'll keep doing it. But when you have someone like a mom or a sister or someone there trying to look out for you, who limits your self-indulgence, those negative self-indulgence, but who limit you, who remove the TV from you, who try to help you eat more vegetables, limit your time, tell you to go out for walks. Your mom's that's what your mom does. She's limiting your self-indulgence so you don't get trapped. Right now, obviously, you can't have to do it yourself, but it's nice to have someone there to help you with these things. Because it's kind of, it's actually easy. Like if someone pulls it away from your hand, it makes it easier to let it go. If you're gaming and someone just tells you to stop, or if you're watching a movie and he just turns off the TV, he just tells you to stop. He encourages you with respect or like in a kind way. It'll kind of make you want to do it. You won't like it at first, but it'll make you. It'll take your mind off of that thing that you're doing. It'll help you. So I'd say definitely you don't have to fight this fight alone. Ask someone in your house just to keep in track of you. If you've been sitting on the game tool or the TV or whatever too long, even if it's something healthy, by the way, some people can do healthy things too much. Some people can read too much books. Some people can draw too much. Some people can work too much. You can work on your school project
True.
way too much.
True.
And that's bad. It doesn't just have to be gaming. It doesn't have to be leisurely things. It can be things that we see as positive, but when you do it when you do too much to a high degree, it's going to start affecting you negatively. And even then, but you can't stop yourself. You're still going to keep going. You're still going to keep working. You're still going to keep whatever, drawing, writing, reading, all that stuff. That seem good, but you're going to still keep doing these things, even if they on the surface seem like good things. If you do too much of it, it will have a negative impact. You know what they say: too much of a good thing is a bad thing. So in that case, try to self-reflect. Try to have someone out there who's outside of this your self-indulgent circle, someone who's outside of this box that you're trapped in, to look at you and tell you when you need to get off or when you need to take a break. It's good to hear that voice, because sometimes when you're only hearing your voice, and that voice that the only voice that you hear is just keep playing or keep doing that, then that's not really going to help you much. So what you're going to need, I'd say, at least in my experience, it's good to have another voice there, your family member, just telling you, hey, that's not nice. When I'm not sitting, so I have a problem with, like, I don't sit straight. So when I like I know that it's weird. I know that I just don't do it. And then when I hear my brother or my dad tell me, "Hey, sit straight," this is something we do, by the way. It's really funny. Me, my dad, and my brother. What we do is, it's like this cycle of telling each other to sit straight in a like respectful way. So when I see my dad not sitting straight, I tell him, "Hey, sit straight." When my brother's not sitting straight, my dad tells him, "Hey, you should sit straight." When I'm not sitting straight, my brother, annoyingly enough, tells me to sit straight, and I do that. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm not sitting straight," so I adjust myself. And that helps, even though I couldn't do it myself. It helps to have someone remind me, and then that eventually builds into a habit where I can do it by myself. um, so yeah, that applies to anything. Self-reflection. Have another voice in the room with you, have another voice to help you keep track of these things. Scheduling and management. Try to, if you try to manage yourself, try to schedule yourself. Break things into achievable goals. Break big goals into smaller, achievable, digestible goals. And I guess just chill. I think that's the biggest one, is just chill. Just relax. This is not a race. You're doing this for yourself, to improve yourself, and you don't have to rush anything. Just try to take things slow and at your own pace, but without being complacent, without being lazy. And you eventually will make it there, and you'll make it there even with the struggles. You'll make it there with a big smile in your face. Even with all the struggles, you'll make it with a huge smile. Like, you'll make it to that 70-page report at the end of the thesis, and you'll look back and be like, I have one more page left. And you'll look back and you'll see, I finished 70 pages. And then you'll be done. You'll post it, and you'll finish. And that's it.
That is actually true, because a lot of times when we break things, we don't feel their power or their, like, let's say, impact on them. But then once we see the bigger picture and we just take a step back and look at it, we see that, oh, I actually completed everything, and I'm actually proud of myself. One last question that we got. I'm not gonna read it exactly. Sure. I'm just gonna rephrase it just to make it a little more general. So one person was asking, what do you think of those people who is referring to the sharks, I say, and how they look like? So do you feel like, should we judge people based on how they look like? A lot of people say successful people are the ones who like wear suits, they look, they have leaderships in them, those like extra skills. They're always out there.
I've seen a shark in a suit before. Trust me.
So
you never know.
Do you think that we should have that judgment of people? Like, do you think those judgments are true, first of all? And do you think we should stick to those people just because they feel they're more powerful and successful and always improving?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. How do you tell who's a shark and who's not? To be honest, you really can't. All you can do is use your best judgment, but you won't be able to recognize them. Not the start. I'd say not the start. You won't be able to recognize who's a shark at the start. It'll take time before the red flags, before the teeth start revealing themselves. It'll take time, So I guess, well, you could try to. So you will go through life. You will meet some sharks wearing happy faces, hiding their teeth. You will meet them, and you won't know that they're sharks to begin with. And so you're always gonna have to take. You're always gonna be cautious, I guess, in life. Of who you trust too much, or who you trust too much. Trust is really important, and who you let. This comes back to who you let in your life. It can be someone bad, it can be someone good, and you will meet some bad people, and you will make some bad mistakes with those people, and you will learn from it. It's important that you learn from it. You can't avoid meeting the bad people. I guarantee you will meet more bad people in your life. That is absolutely true. Expect that. Don't be like, my life is going to go smoothly. I've already been through the worst of it. Well, you have been through the worst of your life, but expect more. And you're gonna see more bad things, and it's just good to learn from those bad things. That's the really important part. Learn from those past sharks that you met, so you wouldn't make the same stupid mistake. But don't let those bad experiences build a shell around you. Some people, rather than learning from it, they kind of grow a shell around them, and they try to, instead of being cautious, they're overprotective. They build a shell around them to hide all the sharks away, and that's no good, because when you're stuck inside that shell, it's going to be really hard to go anywhere, So you're going to have to be confident in yourself and your decisions. You're going to have to use your best judgment. Look at the sharks that you've met before. Definitely don't. You shouldn't judge people, I'd say. you definitely shouldn't judge people immediately. It takes time. You really can never know a person completely. You really can't, good or bad. So it does take time. Even if they're wearing a big shiny suit, I'd say even that's not an indicator to how good or even how bad they are. But don't get me wrong. There are some like passive biases. There are some passive biases in your mind that everyone has. You see some tall guy with ripped clothes and messy hair and talking in a weird way. Your first reaction is he's probably dangerous, and that's fine. It's a passive bias. It makes sense. It's a healthy reaction, but just always be cautious with how you make your final decision. So yeah, you won't always recognize the sharks in your life, and honestly, you won't always recognize the dolphins in your life either. You won't always recognize the good or the bad, or the turtles, dolphins, squids, whatever, until you've spent proper amount of time with them, understanding and experiencing life with these people, and actually talking to them. By the way, it's important on your part to kind of like really analyze, like ask yourself, is this person good for me? Because some people are in really unhealthy relationships and are super oblivious to the harm that it's doing to them from this person.
True.
And so it's important, because you might be with a shark right now, for all you know. You might be with a shark that you haven't recognized as a shark yet, but other people may have recognized. It's really important to also see like how other people react to this. If a good amount of people don't like this person or stay wary of this person, that might give you a good idea. I wouldn't say it's a 100% idea, but it's a good idea about that kind of person. And I guess just about self-reflection, self-analyzing, and just learning from past mistakes and being cautious, and being cautious about the species of fish that you hang out with. Man, we've been talking about fish a lot today.
I'm guessing you're reading the comments as well. I'm reading some of the
comments. Yeah.
I'm trying so hard not to giggle, but like, yeah, you guys are funny, by the way. Shout out to all the funny comments out there. You guys are really funny.
Yeah.
All right, Mohammed.
Oh man.
We're kind of getting to a close here, so would you like to say
right.
anything to end this amazing stream? And thank you so much for being here, guys.
Thank you for having me, man.
This is the Be Positive Show, guys. What I do is I play games on the weekdays, and I do Be Positive Show on Fridays and Saturdays.
Yep.
Guys, feel free to follow the channel so you can get more notifications when I'm live. Thank you, Mohammed, for being here. And
thank you for
before
having
I
me,
get you
seriously,
to
it's been
say
awesome.
the last thing, guys, make sure that you're... do you want to give shout outs, by the way, Mohammed, at some point? To just
a shout out. There's really no one I can think of that needs a shout out, honestly. Well, shout out to my amazing girlfriend. Mwah, I love you, boo. she's great. She's super encouraging. She was even encouraging before this chat, so I'm super happy about that. Thank you so much. Alina. I also want to, I guess, give a shout out to my friends who are watching. Hey, I want to give out a shout out to someone who's really annoying, but I love a lot. It's Swampfire007, Arjun, who...
Woo! Arjun, guys.
Also edits some of your videos.
He is the reason why all my amazing posts look nice, by the way, guys. Shout out to Arjun.
Yeah. Lovable guy, man. I want to shout out to all my friends. Roshan, I know you're watching. I see you there. And Kareem's pretty cool. Kareem's an all right kid. He can get a bit loud, but at the end of the day, you can't help but love him. He's a teddy bear.
Right, guys.
I think for my final words, should I give my final words?
Go for it.
Okay. I guess whoever's still there, whoever's still listening, I love you, Kareem. But I guess whoever's still there, just. Life is really unpredictable. I think we all know that. I'll sound like a broken record saying this, but you never know what's going to happen. You never know what good or bad things that are going to come your way. So it's always good to be cautious and prepared, because you're going through. And this is the last reference to an ocean, to the sea life I'm going to make. But you're going to a very deep and dark and confusing ocean. So it's always good to have a little light with you and be prepared for whatever life can get you. And you don't have to rush anything. It's okay. It's okay to take your time. It's okay to fail. It's okay to mess up. It's okay to do things wrong in the beginning. It's fine. It's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just as long as you reflect on that and you improve. You learn from those things and you try to be a better person. You know, you let your mistakes build you. And I think with that, it kept in mind. I think that you'll be just fine if you just keep that in mind. You'll be okay.
Guys, again, big thank you to Mohamed for being on the show. Guys, this is the second episode, and so far the show has been, I'm really proud of all the people who has been on the show yet, and I have so much planned for you guys. Thank you, Mohamed, again. And guys, be dolphins, don't be sharks. This is the summary of today. Be a dolphin, and if you don't know if you're a shark or a dolphin, get to it.
I mean,
now.
hey, you can be turtles, you can be squids, you can be whatever the hell you want, as long as you do it well.
As long as
It
you're
doesn't have to be
improving. And
dolphins.
guys, make sure that you're not comparing yourself to the others, but compare yourself to the previous you, and make sure you are better every day. And
that's a
start
really good point.
by cleaning your room. Thank you,
Start by
Mohamed.
cleaning your room.
Guys, I will be rating one of my friends, so
Thank you.
stay on. I'll be always there. Thank you, guys, and I'll see you all next week. Have a good day. Guys, I'll be rating one of my friends
Peace out.
who is...